I've been doing this now for 23 years, and it's been one of the most interesting journeys. I have made some really good friends. I've been to weddings. I've become a godmother to several of the students that did stay in the early days. And I still keep in contact with people. I have now friends aged 30, 40, 50. I'm not just in my own peer group. And that is what makes this lifestyle that I've chosen so enjoyable.
Oh, great. And you know, the focus of the Freebird Club is that it's an opportunity for peer-to-peer engagement, as well as supporting the income streams of those in the over 55 age group. So that's good to hear. Talk to me a little bit about how a person should get started.
Right. Well, they've got to actually look at what accommodation they have and decide which room they're going to let out. That's the best way forward. And then they've got to actually decide why they're doing it, to change their lifestyle, to do something different. It's never been so more popular as today that people are actually renting out rooms. And it's a great way of communicating with people that you would never have met before.
What about different cultures, Sally? Have you had any challenges in dealing with people from different cultures or maybe language issues?
Oh, absolutely. There are different cultures, and you've got to respect that. And languages have been a problem in the past. But I will say that most people do speak English, or if they don't, there is someone that they come with that will do the translation for them. And nowadays, many people over 50 take up a second language as a hobby, and they actually make more of an effort in the age group that I am in learning other languages, or at least having a dictionary so that both sides can be understood.
Okay, but you wouldn't see it as a deterrent if a host didn't actually speak the language of the guest?
Not at all, because it's not as easy as having guests that speak your own language, but it's something that you can overcome quite easily. And in fact, it's quite jolly sitting around the table trying to explain to them a direction to the bus stop. And we all sit and draw, and it reminds you of your childhood. But they're very appreciative. That most people that come from other parts of the world just are so happy to be in someone's home, getting to know the layout of the village or town or city that they're staying in. They feel that they're living like a local. They're meeting a person that they would never have met if they'd gone on a tour and stayed at a hotel.
Here in the Freebird Club, the guest and the host have the opportunity to engage with each other before they arrive at the house. Do you think that's important?
I think it's extremely important, because it's important for both sides that the guest actually knows where they're staying. They've actually seen either a picture if they're on one of these social media groups, and also they've actually emailed each other, because you can actually draw out with careful questioning if they're coming over to stay with friends, etc., or they're just coming because they're interested in something. So you actually get an idea of what that person is expecting and will be like, and you yourself can give an impression of yourself to them, so that already you've set the boundaries and you've set the tone for when you meet.
Yeah, and within the Freebird Club, the host has the opportunity to create a profile, and so also does the member guest has an opportunity to read the profile, to compare it, and to see kind of what they have in common. Or recently, we had some ladies who were traveling and they were going to a particular event, and they ended up going together, both the host and the guest, which was really nice, because it forms that initial rapport for friendship or for companionship. Maybe short term, maybe long term, but it does certainly ease the way before the actual meeting happens.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, because I have a lot of ladies over 50 that come to stay with me that are going to a language course. And I really look forward to when they come and stay, because I have a meal with them, or I take them to a local bar, or we both go out for dinner before they go. And, some people I make as friends and I see them again. And in fact, this is what is really interesting about this Freebird Club, that you might meet and come across someone that you have a lot in common with, and you become friends, and that you might travel together.
Okay, you've actually gone on holidays with one of your guests.
Yes, she came back to London with her sister this last week, and I met her in London and we went out for lunch, and it was just lovely. I would never have met her if I hadn't opened up my home.
Talk to me, Sally, a little bit about getting the house ready. So we've assumed that the decision to become a host has already been made, and sometimes some of our hosts get a little bit kind of frightened about, well, is my house good enough, and is my decor okay? And it almost comes from the place of, am I worthy enough to have guests come and stay in my house? What would you say to them?
Well, first of all, to get a room ready, you've just got to check that it looks fresh and clean. Check the bed. If you're not happy with, I always recommend that people buy white sheets because I think that always makes a bed look fresh, inviting. And you've just got to check it over and take out all the personal memorabilia from the room and make it look like a guest room. No one's looking for the latest colours on the walls or the latest styles. It's just got to look welcoming. The most important thing about hosting is liking people, wanting to meet different people and being open with them, because people love meeting someone that they would never have met before. Communication is key in opening up your home to people.
And I think the fact that, again, in both our situations, that people know that they're coming to somebody's home. They're not coming to a hotel or to a guest house or to a travel lodge. They're actually coming to somebody else's home.
Yes, because we always say that every room, might not be the same. There's different styles in each room of someone's house, so it's not as uniform. And people don't expect that. They are very aware that it is coming. They are going to stay in someone's home, and they, will embrace that. And it's good to sort of describe to people that you might have a hobby or you like art, because that is an opening when you first meet, because you need neutral territory. So I always say when you do have someone coming in to stay with you, you should always offer them a tea or coffee as part of the welcome straight away. That way because people don't travel well when they've been traveling all day to get to a destination. So by welcoming them into your kitchen or sitting room to sit down and have a cup of tea and just initially get to know one another, that is really key in doing this process.
And I think that's particularly important for people who are in the over 50s, kind of section, because you're right, we get tired, with the travel, maybe a little more easier than kind of the 20-year-olds, but it's an ideal opportunity for the host and the guest to start building the rapport from the moment they cross the doorstep.
Absolutely. And, we're very good communicators in this age group over 50s. We've got a lot of experience with dealing with people throughout our lives. Many have had families, and the thing that they love doing, they love welcoming people back into their home, especially when all their children have flown their nest. It's wonderful to have the house busy again, as I call it.
Do you find that most of the hosts that you work with, that they're actually doing this from an income producing position? Or is it that they're looking to meet new friends, meet new people, engage differently with the world?
I would say it's 50-50. People, do want to top up towards their income, but what comes through more and more, the longer they do it, it's about engagement with people, having people in the house. It gives a whole different atmosphere to a home. It feels homely. They're busy, enjoying themselves, engaging with different conversations. And, many times it takes away some of the loneliness, and they've made new friends that through the internet, when they've left, they keep in contact with. And that is really important. They're reaching out to people they would never have met before.
And also in the comfort of somebody else's home, without that fear factor of maybe staying in a strange place.
Yeah, they enjoy meeting new people, and it's, if you like people and you're good with people, this is a dream job to do, or a lifestyle choice.
Okay. Again, as part of the Freebird Club membership, our hosts offer breakfast as part of the package, to the guest who's staying. And sometimes they get a little bit maybe sort of bent out of shape over, what am I going to serve for breakfast, or what's going to be needed. In your, opinion, what do you think is the best thing to do around the whole breakfast situation?
Well, I think breakfast is a very important part of doing this, because it's where you actually spend the most time getting to know the person that's staying.
Mhm.
I think it's a very good idea to do a continental breakfast and offer a cooked option. Not every day, because a lot of people do get very, stressed about thinking they've got to cook a breakfast every morning. But I think a generous continental breakfast with one or two homemade jams or marmalades um, does go down very well. And you can always find out what sort of diet they like, and then, sometimes sit down and have a breakfast with them and say, I'm going to serve you my favorite breakfast. I don't think it has to be
Okay, that's
perfect.
nice.
I think you've got to work with it.
Okay, and I suppose because you're talking to people before they actually arrive, you can have the opportunity to iron out any particular issues around dietary requirements or, likes and dislikes.
Absolutely.
Which again adds value to the fact that certainly within the Freebird Club web platform, we have the messaging, the internal messaging system, so that there is a private chat between both the host and the guest before they actually confirm the booking and before they actually begin to travel. So it's an easier place maybe to iron out some of those glitches.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very important that emails are, mailed to each other, and there is a flow of conversation through the email before they meet. And also, I think it's very important that the host, um, who is going to have someone stay, that they know their area and they can give them as much information about transport, the local attractions, etc. Because
Mm.
this really does help develop the relationship between the guest and the host.
The host nearly becomes like a tourist information officer,
Absolutely, that's
and a
it.
promoter of their own local area, which is terrific.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know I have guests to stay. I love bringing them to the place where they make the decision that they want to go to the places I love. It's not that I bring them there, but because I talk so enthusiastically about maybe some local park or a local restaurant, they pick up on your enthusiasm, don't they?
Yeah, and they, sometimes you can take them with you, or they will go off on their own, and then you can exchange views of how enjoyable they found your recommendation.
Yes,
Recommendations are key when you're a host.
yeah.
And when you've been doing it a little while, it's worth putting a little book in the room, just a double-sided, folded A4 leaflet of some of the things in the local area, some recommendations. That is really helpful for when someone comes to stay.
I know when I read your blog, I love when you make recommendations. And even though I'm not in the city, maybe I'm not in London, or wherever you're writing about each week, I still want to go and visit the restaurant. And I find I'm taking notes, like, in my diary for, the next time I'm there, I must go where Sally recommends.
Yeah.
And that's very helpful because I feel I already have a map of the location long before I arrive.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when females travel alone, they feel more secure coming to stay with a host. And if you have set up all your recommendations and offer to book a table for them, or I always encourage when someone's has a late arrival that the host offers them a sandwich and a hot drink so that they don't have to go out. So, depending on when someone's flight is into the city and by the time they get to the destination, you can do little things as a host to make that guest welcome, and then you've actually made a friend for life.
Mm.
So it's the little touches that go the long way.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit, Sally, about what is the best way for a host to actually promote their own home so that guests actually want to stay with them?
You've got to think of your strengths. So I always say that you've got to actually say where your location is, if it's near a park, and what the attractions are of that area, what your interests are, as well, is extremely important. And reach out, when you're first starting to do it, reach out to people, because I actually say that I love cooking. I've been a chef. So I try and attract people that are foodies. So
Okay.
if you put in your, I suppose, profile, some of the things that are your strengths, that will then attract people that are interested in those areas.
Okay.
I
Do you
also,
think it's a good idea for hosts to upload photographs of their rooms and of their gardens and places of interest locally?
yes, it's extremely important that you actually put a couple of pictures of the bedroom, The bathroom is very important as well for people. The kitchen area where they will be eating, or a dining room. The outside of the house, because that's important. People don't pay enough attention. So you need a picture of your front door, or, or the pathway, so they recognize it when they're coming with their suitcase late at night.
That's
And
so
some
clever.
areas that are key, to where you live, and how easy it is for them to commute from the suburbs into a city centre.
Okay.
Also,
And
free parking, that is really important.
yeah, parking, particularly if people obviously are driving maybe from an airport or, as you said, arriving late in the evening, at least if they recognize the doorway,
Yes. And
in the
also,
right place.
absolutely, otherwise I'll drive past it. I've had many people knock on the wrong door, so I've had to change the colour of my front door.
Okay,
They
so
don't look
yeah,
at the
make it
number,
stand
they
out.
just look at a door. But also, it's very important if you have pets. You have
Okay.
to let people know that you have pets because of allergies.
And what about things like, again, I'm conscious of kind of the age group that the Freebird Club are encouraging to, to start into the hosting. What about mobility issues?
Um, then if
How do you cater for that in your home?
it's very difficult in a private home for mobility issues, especially if you've got a house. But if you have a bungalow or a ground floor flat, you then actually can put in the description that you can take guests that might have uh,
Mobility issues.
mobility issues.
So I suppose, coming close to our final question, Sally, I know you have been writing a book.
We have, and we have just got it today. The proof. I can show
Would you
you.
like to tell us about it?
Yeah, I'd love to show you. Can you see it?
Yeah, turning your spare room into a gold mine. That's excellent. That's excellent. Congratulations. A very proud day for you and Chris.
It is. We haven't stopped smiling since it came through the post this morning.
Fantastic, fantastic. So tell me about the book.
Well, the book is about if from when you're thinking of it runs through all the key areas of when you're thinking of starting to go into the sharing economy and renting out your spare room. And the wonderful thing about this sharing economy is it's for every age group that does have a spare room. And so we talk through in various stages of this, of what you need to ask yourself. You can actually, in your description, target the type of guest that you feel is right for your home as well. And also the styles of hosting, whether you want to just offer a room only, whether you want to offer a room with breakfast, whether you want to have long-term people come and stay from anything from 2 weeks up to 3 months, or whether you just want to have people stay for a couple of days. Um, I think it's a good thing when you're first starting out hosting, so that you can get used to the routine, is taking someone that wants to come and stay for 2 or 3 weeks. It really gets you relaxed into the groove, as I say, and you can then get a feel for it and then decide what will suit you best.
Okay. And I suppose it also gives you time to iron out all the creases that might appear, which will help to dispel the worry about having guests in your home.
Absolutely. And then you can start to put together your little leaflet of how things work in the house. Um,
Mm.
and, it's got to work for not only yourself as the host, but it's also got to work for the guest. And the thing about having a guest, the more things that are written down, not as a rules or regulations, but bits of information, it helps with a smooth transition period. And
Oh,
as you rightly say, you get to iron out the creases, and you actually get yourself into a routine. That's the key thing to being successful as this, is being organized and in a routine.
okay.
Then you
So
can
we're
put
going into
everything.
2017. It's a whole new year, a new beginning. And what is your advice for people who perhaps over Christmas are thinking, well, maybe I'd like to meet new people, or maybe I'd like to do something different, kind of for the next year. What's your advice to them in taking the first step to becoming a host?
I would actually, you've got to give yourself a goal for when you start hosting, so that if you want to meet new people, this is the perfect way of doing it. If you want to top up and have that extra holiday next year, that's another way of doing it. You've got to have a reason to do it, because you're going to have to change some of your routines. But I think, it's a new year, a new start. Why not give it a try? And you'll be surprised how much you will enjoy it. And I think everyone that starts on this path always remembers their first guest. I mean, and there's going to be guests that you really, if you hadn't have met them through hosting, you would have been the best of friends. There's others that you're going to say, I didn't like them as much as the last, but they're okay. At least I know they're only here for 3 days. I'm not lumbered. But I think once you do it, it opens up another world that you did not know exist. It's exciting.
Thank you for talking to us today. It's been really helpful. Let me see your book again.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we are. Thank you so much.
Turning your spare room into a gold mine.